So can Muslims. I mean, look, the Sharia is not a magic shield that stops Muslims from being liable to be prosecuted under English law. It's not, is it?
Well, it operates in this way, that there are the councils, and as you've said, you don't know how many of them there are. There are the tribunals, which are inherently discriminative, and they operate on Sharia principles. And the whole point is that these are very different from the rest of the British legal system, where we do not have inherent gender discrimination in the legal system. I'm sorry, I did promise I'd speak for 20 minutes.
Okay.
It's running out of time.
Right, well, just quickly, Baroness Cox, because a caller wants to just ask you a question. Rab is in Birmingham. Rab, good morning.
Hello there, good morning, Nihal.
What would you like to ask Baroness Cox?
Well, I'd like to ask her a very simple question, is what's wrong with having more than one wife? Would you rather men have loads of actual girlfriends and then have loads of children, out of marriage that then won't know who their fathers are, and their fathers won't be looking after them, and then this government will then have to be chasing to find out who the fathers are, and there'll be
polygamy.
I distinguish who the fathers of the children are.
Rab, polygamy is permitted if there's a need for it. However, the Quran discourages it, as it's difficult to treat more than one wife as equal and to support children.
Right,
That's the Quran itself.
I'll tell you what it says in our religion, okay? Love is something which you cannot treat somebody equally. But other than that, every other way you have to treat the wife equally, which is a very, very hard task.
Do you have more than one wife?
That's totally relevant whether I have or I haven't. I'm ringing up because I have heard so much actual nonsense.
Well, it's relevant. It's relevant to this question, because if you have more than one wife,
I have 20 wives. Just say, for argument's sake, I have 20 wives.
Well, you're not allowed to. Quranically, you wouldn't be allowed to, so you'd be going against your faith.
Islamically, Nihal, if you can't treat them equally, then you're not allowed. This is what Islam says, okay? If you can't treat them equally, then you're not allowed to have more than one wife, right? But the question I'm asking is, what is wrong with having more than one wife?
How can you care equally?
I'll say the word nearly, because I don't want to point fingers at yourself or myself, but nearly every man out there has either had an affair, or is having an affair, or has a one-night stand
very
with somebody,
different. Very different. Wait a minute, Rab. Yeah. Very different to having a completely different family, or 2 and 3 different families where you have. Wait a minute, because how can you? I mean, I find it very difficult just to give my 2 children equal love. If there are 20 children, how do you give them equal love?
Hang on a minute, Nihal. You obviously can't give, for example, your love to more than one person. So in that case, you wouldn't have a second wife.
No, I'm talking about children.
Okay. No, you wouldn't have a second wife.
I'm talking about children.
Then, right? If one other man who can, for example, have more than one actual relationship, where he's got a second girlfriend somewhere, or he's having
I could have plenty of relationships. Let's talk about children.
Actually, wait a minute.
Rab, 1 second. Rab, 1 second. Baroness Cox wants to come back in.
I've really got to go. I'm enjoying the discussion.
Very quickly, go on, Baroness Cox.
Quickly, the law of this land actually prevents bigamy. It prohibits bigamy. People want to come to this country, they have to respect the law of this land, and that is actually violating the law, and that's one of the great problems. And the other thing is, talking to many of my Muslim friends who are in polygamous relationships, they say they do not get the support from their husbands, and they're deeply unhappy. So we have 2 issues there. One is bigamy is against the law of the land of this country. People have chosen to come to live, should respect the law of the land they've come to live, and the women who are in polygamous marriages under Sharia law, where it's allowed, they are often desperately unhappy and are not cared for. So I'm grateful to Rab for raising that issue, because it highlights a lot of the problems which I want to address. But my main purpose is to help Muslim women in this country enjoy the full rights and laws of this land where they are living today, and that's the purpose of the bill. Not Islamophobic, concern for Muslim women. Thank you for letting me share your discussion. Sorry to have to love you and leave you, but I've got to run.
Baroness Cox, thank you very much indeed. Rab, she made
what you've done there, Nihal.
She made it.
She's spoken for the past 20 minutes. I've only said about 30 seconds.
And you're on here regularly, over an hour, over a year. You speak for hours, Rab.
Down, my friend.
You speak for hours over a year, Rab.
Yeah, it's beside the point. She's speaking a lot of crap on the radio, and she needs to be put right.
Well, wait a minute, with all due respect, Rab, with all due respect, we've just had Khala Hassan. All right.
No, why doesn't the government bring out laws that stop men having affairs?
As a Muslim...
Why doesn't every man get locked up then?
as a Muslim, she just pointed out, as a Muslim, you know that if you are living in a land which is not predominantly Muslim, you must adhere to the rules, the laws of that land.
Prince Charles was having an affair on Diana.
No. It's not illegal. It's not illegal to have affairs. It's not illegal to have affairs, but it is illegal to be...
That's worse. It's worse for people to be having children out of marriage, having affairs, actually breaking up homes.
Wait there a second. Wait there a second. You just said it's worse to be having children outside of your marriage. Why is that any different to having 2 or 3 wives with children? Why is that any...
10 wives with children, at least those children know who their father is.
What's the point? Wait a minute. What's the point of knowing? Good grief, Rab. Do you know what? Have you taken silly pills? What's the point of having lots of children if you can't be? If they know that you're their father, but you can't be a father to them? That's just a name.
You're missing the point. The point I'm trying to make is
I'm not.
A man that's going to have an affair is going to have an affair. If a man's going to have more than one wife, if he's that kind of man,
it's illegal. More than one wife, it's illegal.
If he's not allowed to have more than one wife, he's going to have 10 girlfriends.
It's illegal to have more than one wife in this country.
I'm not saying it should be made legal. What I'm saying is,
but you asked the question, what's wrong with it?
They're picking on that point of it, but they're not looking at their own society. That half of these white people who don't.
Here's a news flash for you, Rab. Muslims have affairs too. Just to give you a little news flash into your own life, Muslims have affairs too.
Yes, exactly.
So you think a solution to having affairs is being able to marry more than one woman?
That would actually stop you from having affairs. It would stop you from having children out of marriage.
I've got one marriage. I've got one wife. I'm not having an affair.
On how many? What's it called? STI.
Rob, sorry, Rab, are you incapable as a man of being faithful to one woman?
No, it's not that I'm incapable. I said to you first, if a man is going to be incapable, isn't it better for him to have a wife rather than...
No, it's probably better for him to keep it in his trousers.
If that's the case, no man should get married at all, and everybody should go out.
Well, then, do you know what? There shouldn't be any laws against shoplifting, because, I mean, if I'm incapable of being able to pay for something, then I just want to go in and take it, and that's fine.
You're not going and taking it, are you? You're going and making yourself responsible. You're having a wife.
Oh, but how do you know How do you know these men can be responsible? How do you know these people can be responsible?
Why did you get married?
How do you know these people can be responsible? Listen, I ask the questions.
No, you can't always ask the questions. You have to also be asked questions as well, because you're making...
Why did I get married? Because I love my wife, and she was going to be my life... Because I found my soulmate, and I want to be with her and her only for the rest of my life.
Single with her?
Sorry?
Why didn't you just carry on being girlfriend and boyfriend? Why did you have to get married to her?
Well, because that's culture.
Thank you. Because it's not just culture.
You say thank you and then go, no. Look, do you know what, Rab? Enough. We're done with you for today. Thank you very much indeed. Let's go to Akram in Birmingham. Good grief.
Hello.
Akram, good morning.
Very good morning. Very, very interesting. Basically... this lady, Miss Cox, who's come on, she wouldn't be involved if Muslim women didn't come to her.
Exactly right.
Yeah, so simple. So there is a problem. There is a very, very big problem. I don't collect statistics, but I'm living within the Muslim community, and there is this hardcore situation where men are actually, abusing and using women. The general course, the trend sort of thing is where obviously in the community, Muslim community, there are less men and more women. And therefore, a lot of women are off on the shelf, basically, and they're desperate. And they are willing to become second wives or third wives. Now, the problem is, what they don't realize is they're going to be left high and dry down the line, because in this country, you can only have one wife, basically. So only the one wife, the chosen wife, the legal wife under British law will get the rights, if she becomes a widow or she gets the property and whatever. The other ones won't get nothing, because they will be on Islamic paper in this country, which is not recognized. They will be their wife, fine, under Islam, but not under the UK law. So this is very, very urgently needed, and education is needed for women to make sure they know the pros and cons of entering into a marriage, becoming a second or a third wife.
Okay, Akram, thank you very much.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.